culture. I cut my way out podcast. Tune us in. We on the grind like. I put the clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Yeah, I put the clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. I used to dream as a kid on the porch of the crib and make it big and one day endorse where I live.
And welcome back to the I Cut My Way Out podcasting about barbering culture. We are everywhere where you can listen to podcasts, most notably SoundCloud. No, we're not on SoundCloud. That's going to change though. But Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, TuneIn,
YouTube,
and I ain't gonna say most importantly, because wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there. But most importantly, YouTube. So that's where you can see us.
Absolutely.
I am at Kenneth Jinks on IG, and I'm joined by the Michael Jordan of this podcast, the barber, and the entrepreneur. Go ahead and give them your addies.
All right, I'm Ashra Knox. You can find me at _Knox the barber 4 on Instagram. Also, beard_culture 4 on Instagram as well. And then our joint page at _cut_my_way_out _pod on Instagram. So,
and that's a habit. You always give us the addies, which is cool, but you know, the addies will be in the graphics. So just holla at us. How's your week been? How's everything been going?
It's good, man. Getting us started, man. Cleaned up the shop, man. Ready to get after it this week, but excited about what we have going on this morning with the podcast. So ready to get at it.
Yeah, man. That's I just appreciate you just continuing to be diligent and contacting your colleagues. And I just find inspiration, motivation, just listening to the journeys of most of, if not all of them. And today is no different.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, you know, you got the fire intro and take it away.
All right. Hello. Today, we would like to introduce a very special guest. I've been following this barber for quite some time. And so I'll give, his bio, follow us, subscribe, check us out, check his work out. We'll, and just what he has going, we'll give his Instagram information as well. But today we have Will Stamm. Will is a husband. He's a father of 3 beautiful girls. He's a professional. He's a world master barber from the tri-state area. He has since relocated to Atlanta, Georgia in 2007, where he advanced his knowledge of barbering and obtained his master barber instructor's license in 2013. William is the founder of Professional Cuts, LLC, which has been established since 2010 and now has multiple locations across Metro Atlanta. He teaches at barber schools in Atlanta on a part-time basis. Will has a passion for barbering and development of others and community. He's a successful real estate investor, multiple rental properties in Georgia and Florida. William also serves as the financial chair of the board of directors for the South DeKalb Tribe Youth Travel Baseball Program. William believes personal development is the magic key to unlock the door into one's best life. William's conviction about personal growth has led him to become a John Maxwell certified coach, trainer, and speaker so he can continue to add value to others in serving his community. That's what's up. It's a nice bio, man. You got a lot going, bro.
Yeah, man. It never stops, man. I just try to keep growing as an individual so I can just keep helping other people grow and just be like a roadmap for other people to find success in doing things a way that works. It's not just for me, it's for anybody who's willing to do the work. So I'm just trying to be the first light to show people where to go. That's all.
All right. That's what's up. So, man, as we get this kicked off, we introduced your bio. Want to jump straight off into some questions, man. As I followed you, been entertaining, man. Just kind of want to find out a little more in depth. I think your journey would be or will be extremely motivational, inspirational for the listeners, not just in the barber industry, but just in general, man. That's what I love, and that was our whole aim with this podcast, man, is just to provide motivation and inspiration for individuals just to jump out there and get at it in whatever they choose to do.
And give people their flowers, what I'm saying,
absolutely.
while they can smell them. I know that's becoming cliche, but it's just so fitting, especially after we hear people's journeys and not just the triumphs, but a lot of the obstacles. And so we want to get into those obstacles as well. So yeah, we just want to give you your flowers, and just let you tell your story and be a inspiration to us all.
Right. And also my goal is to just learn from you in the process. So as we get started, one of the things you talked about in your bio, relocating. So just tell us a little bit just about Will Stamm, where you're from, kind of your upbringing, and your journey from, to where you are now in terms of your whole relocation and how that happened.
All right. So for me, started out, I'm originally from the tri-state area. I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Where I was born. I was raised in Claymont, Delaware, which is basically on the Delaware PA line. All that is just a small town right outside, 10, 15 minutes from the Philadelphia airport. Right. So growing up, my dad, I still haven't met him to this day. Unfortunately, it just wasn't there. So it was all relying upon my mom. And my mom struggled with things, growing up. So I actually, at a very young age, before the age of 5 years old, I had to go stay with my grandmother. So my grandmother, obviously great grandmother, she was like 75 years old. And I'm a little 5-year-old just trying to find my way. Right. So for me, starting out early, it just wasn't anything there. I had a place to go home and rest my head. And I'm so grateful to my grandmother for that, because without that, who knows where I would be. Right. But my mom and dad just weren't around, struggling with addiction and things of that nature. They just were into a whole lot of other stuff other than me. So starting out, it was a little tough, but I went through school. I kind of grew up, and at the age of like 14, 15, I was growing a full beard, like on my face. Right. Okay. So my grandmother was like, she was like, man, you can't go to the store looking like that. Like, you look real scruffy, you look rough. So obviously we were, on a fixed income, so there wasn't any really major resources there. So she bought me a pair of clippers from, I think there were some Remingtons from Walmart, probably the worst clippers you can buy. I don't even know if they exist anymore. Right. So I started cleaning myself up. And once I started doing that, my friends and stuff started noticing. They were kind of like, hey, man, who lined you up? And I'm like, me, I did it. I was trimming up my sideburns and doing my mustache and things of that nature. So they were like, do you think you can line me up? And I was like, because we were all broke, just coming from unfortunate backgrounds. We were all broke. So it was like, I was the one that was like super sober. Like, I wasn't into any of the drugs or anything like that, because growing up, my number one conviction is say no to drugs, because drugs is what destroyed my family, and made me had to, suffer as a childhood just living with my grandparents. Right. So they were like, all right, I trust you, because you were probably the only one that's sober. Right. So I started lining up some of my friends and things of that nature, and they were like, yo, this is actually pretty good. Now, I didn't even know how to adjust clippers at this point. Right. So it was like, it was the most basic lineups ever and beard lineups, but the satisfaction from it of being recognized for doing something that people thought I was good at,
Right.
created an interest in me wanting to do more with it.
Okay.
So just growing up in a home, I got 2 brothers and we're all 3 years apart.
Okay.
3 years apart total.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm 35, one is 33 and one is 32.
Okay.
Now, it's an unfortunate situation because I don't have a relationship really with either one of them.
Wow.
The one is 33, you know, we were in separate households pretty much our entire childhood. And the same thing with the 32-year-old is I didn't meet him until maybe 6 months ago.
I seen the post.
All through Facebook after like 20 years of his father keeping him away from my side of the family.
Wow.
So I seen him at 11 years old, but I didn't relink with him again until about 31, 32. So over 20 years, just not even seeing, hearing, talking to, or anything. So thank God for Facebook. But you know, all of that you know took place as a child, man, it just drove me, and it still gives me the drive to this day to just want to change my family tree forever. Just suffering through, you know, just not having any resources, not being able to do what other kids were able to do, and just wondering like, why not me? Like I see other people with their mom, with their dad, and I was just like, why not me? Like, why not? Like, why can't I have what other people have, or why can't I enjoy what other people enjoy? Like, what was it about me that what didn't make it, you know, worthwhile? Or it just wasn't available to me. So that's where I get my drive from a lot of times, is just I want to figure out why not me, and I haven't been able to figure out why not. So I just go after whatever I want. I don't think there's anything I can't do, and I think that just comes from already being at the bottom. I feel like I had nothing to lose.
Right.
So I was just, you know, a daredevil in a sense of just taking risks. Because I'm like, I'm already starving. I'm already broke.
Right.
It can't get worse. It can only get better. And throughout the years, I've been able to, you know, as we'll get into, but I've been able to have some tremendous success, man, and change things. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're all good.
I've been able to have some tremendous success doing things a certain way that's led to an incredible business and financial future for myself.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate you, you know, just being transparent. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's deep.
How did you come to being transparent? Do you share that story a lot? Because we'll get into it, you are a boss, you know what I'm saying? So
for me, I think transparency is the only real way to connect with other people.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times people are scared to be transparent because somebody's going to judge them.
Right.
At the end of the day, this is my life, this is my circumstance, this is where I come from, this is reality. And I'm a person that I'm always going to be transparent. I do not care what somebody thinks, where I come from. It is me at the end of the day. That's why I'm able to walk and talk the way I do, because it's me. I don't want to have to think all the time and be like, well, is this person going to, I do not care. You can say whatever you want. Right. You can do whatever you want, try to frame it however you, I don't care, man. I am going to be me. Right. Until the end of time. And I'm grateful that I'm able to be like that. And I think maybe the entrepreneurship road has toughened me to that point where it's like, hey man, at the end of the day, I'm going to do the best I can do, and wherever I end up, I'll be perfectly fine with that, because I'm always in the mindset of just giving my best effort. And I know that everybody has issues and flaws. Right. I'm just willing to be open about mine, because that's where I feel like growth comes. Right.
You hit it right on the head. You're like, man, if I'm at the bottom, ain't nowhere to go but up, you know?
Yeah, I truly believe that. I'm like, man, I didn't have anything. Right. So it was like, what am I risking? I don't have anything.
Right.
So that was how it started out for sure.
Right. So once you got to cutting, you went through school. Now I see you, like you guys, and we're in Champaign, Illinois. So I've seen you in some posts. You and your wife, we're in Chicago. So we're about 132 miles south of Chicago.
Okay.
But you guys were out and moving and walking and all that type of stuff. Now, during school, you know, you cut. Were you an athlete? Did you play any sports or anything?
When I played a lot of sports.
Okay.
Like I played pretty much everything when I was young, but without the financial support, I couldn't afford to be any leagues unless they were like Pop Warner free leagues.
Okay.
So I couldn't really pay for any training. Like I was a Boys and Girls Club person.
Okay.
I just went to the Boys and Girls Club, the membership, and we just competed in
Right.
whoever was in the community, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
yes, I was the one white boy on the basketball team. You know what I mean? That could shoot. I played point guard. So yeah,
Okay.
I was that person. That's
Okay.
probably where, you know, a lot of people, you know, grew interest in me, is because it was like, yo, if you got that much courage to go out here and play with the brothers on the basketball court,
Right.
it's gotta be something. So
Right.
that was me. I played football, I played DB, but I was nothing spectacular. Like I didn't have superstar talent on the football field or nothing like that. But yeah, I enjoyed playing sports because it just gave me I was just a competitor.
Right.
So I always wanted to compete. Even to this day, I'm driven by that, just to always, but I've changed from competing against other people to competing against myself, trying to do better than I was yesterday and do better going forward.
That's what's up. So once you got to cutting, at what point did you realize like this is what I want to do, and what steps? Like, you know, did you go to barber school, cosmetology? Like what was the next step with your barbering?
So when I first started lining my friends up, I was probably maybe 15, 16, sophomore,
Okay.
junior, probably 17, junior in high school.
Okay.
And you know, I just started cutting hair for free. I was just
Okay.
like, I'll do it, because it was the one thing in my life that people were like, yo, you're really good at this.
Right.
I didn't know. It came out of a hardship, not being able to afford to go to the barbershop.
Right.
So I went to a barbershop when I was about 16 and got a low Caesar cut for the first time.
Okay.
You know, because my grandma used to take me to the salon people and they used to give me the little comb over and stuff. I didn't fit me, you know. So I went there and I started to see how barbers lived. Like
Right.
they were like coolest people in the world. They're like a local celebrity.
Right.
Like everybody wanted to go to the dopest barber, and then
Right.
they were able to work when they wanted, this and this and that. So I started paying attention. I kind of got attracted to the lifestyle.
Right.
Initially, like, man, these dudes, they work for themselves, they do what they
Right.
want. People love them. And I was like, this, and I was like, people tell me I'm good at it.
Right.
So I went and talked to one of the barbers I used to go to, and I was just like, hey man, you think I could do this? He was like, oh man, you don't want to do this. He was like, this is terrible. He's like, I don't even want to do this. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like I'm looking at the dude like he's like awesome. Like I'm thinking like he's incredible.
Right.
And he's like, I don't might want to do this, man. It's barber stuff. It sucks.
Right.
No free time, no this, no that. And I was just like, wow. I was like, well, I want to go to school.
Right.
He was like, man, I had a hand for it. You don't want to do it. He was just so negative.
Right.
So I was like, oh, but here's what I knew. When I was in high school, I was absolutely terrible.
Okay.
I used to get kicked out of class because I was a person that asked a lot of questions. You know, as I said in the beginning, I'm a why not person.
Right.
So everything with me, I need to know why.
Right.
And some teachers were just teaching for a job. So they'll be like, well, why? Because I said so. And I used to be like, well, that's not good enough for me.
Right. Right.
Well, because the book says so. I'm like, yeah, but I need it explained. Like I
Right.
need to know why this does what this does. And
Right.
so I graduated high school with like a 1.3 GPA. And they were like, you're going to be a failure, this and this and that, and you're not going to do anything. But for me, I was just like, I had no desire to go to college. I hated formal education.
Right.
And in that point, I was just, I never had a desire to take SATs. And when I was a senior, I just was like, I want to go to barber school. And people laughed at me and they were like, what? That's what you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, are you serious? You want to cut hair?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, like I like it. At this point, I was just like, it's something I like.
Right.
And I was just like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
I had no desire to go to college. I knew my family couldn't afford it. We didn't have any money. So I kind of just fell into it like, it's a way for me to make money and make money to eat. I don't know what else. I didn't even have any long-term vision at the time.
Right.
So I went to barber school in Philly, and I used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus, or not the bus, the train. So I used to catch the train from Claymont, Delaware, up to City Hall in Philadelphia, which was about an hour, 15-minute train ride. Then I had to catch the subway, another 30 minutes to North Philly, and then walk 3 blocks in the cold just to get to barber school by 9 o'clock. So I had a 3-hour commute every day, pretty much.
Wow.
And I used to go part-time and then go home. And then when I got home at 3, I had to be at work at the movie theater at 4, and then work 4 to like 12, and then wake up and go to sleep, do it again. So that was just my job. As an 18-year-old, I worked in the movie theater.
Okay.
And I did that a couple nights a week just to be able to pay my school payment and still live with my grandma.
Okay.
So I went to barber school. It took me 2 years to get done. And here's the reality: I never even finished barber school. I got 500 hours. And the lady in the front desk was like, "Will, we're tired of seeing you here. Let us help you finish." So she was like, "Go get me some lunch from Checkers, and you made your payments," because obviously it was a broken up plan. I think I paid like 5,500. So I paid like 250 for 24 months.
Okay.
Once I got done paying for the program, they were like, "Okay, let's get you out of here." So I bought her some Checkers, and she came back, and they put my hours in. And then I got finished. But when I got finished, it was time to take the test. The practical stuff I knew how to do because I was in the shop cutting this stuff.
Right.
But the theory, I failed it twice. It took me 3 times to pass.
Okay.
So I did that.
Okay.
Right. So that's how barber school pretty much went for me. I did about 500 hours, and then the rest, they just pushed me through. They felt bad for me.
So you were making that commute. Wow. 2 years. So in Philly, I know here in Illinois, our program's 15 hours and it's 9 to 12 months if you're full time. So were you just kind of into it at one moment, kind of, slack on it and then get back to it? What was it that took you that 2 years?
Well, it was 3 hours. I only went 9 to 12 because I had a 3-hour commute back home to get home by 3 to go to work by 4. So I couldn't even afford to go.
Okay. That makes sense.
So they made exceptions for me. It was supposed to be 9 to 4, but they made exceptions for me, like do 9 to 12. So then I was doing that. And then I wasn't coming every day because it was just, I was on the train 5 hours to be at school for 3.
Right.
So it was tough on me at times. And I had to work because I had to help pay bills at the house.
Right.
So it was just a struggle, It wasn't that I didn't want to go because I was really interested in it, but it was just like sometimes work would get in the way. They would schedule me during times when I had to go to work. I mean, when I had to go to school and this and that. And in that moment, I probably wasn't mature enough to figure it out.
Right.
But I knew I didn't want to quit. So I at least tried to go once a week. But if you're only getting 3 hours,
right.
It's going to get to 500, 600. So
that makes sense.
What it is.
Right. Wow.
It is what it is.
Well, but I think that says something in terms of even at a young age, character. You know what I'm saying? Just willing to do it. And, I couldn't, and I feel I'm driven, but man, 3 hours, like, and don't get me wrong, because I commuted, I was a tad bit older. I commuted about 1 hour and 15 one way every day, 5 days a week. So I can, but straight out of high school, I don't think I would have had that mindset. It was a little bit, probably about 3-4 years outside of high school. So, man.
I got a question, Will. North Philly, you said, huh? Based on hip hop and, the internet, it's kind of rough over there, huh?
Yeah, I only had to walk 3 blocks from the train station.
Okay.
Right on Broad Street. It's one of the most iconic barber
schools in Broad. Philly. Yeah.
It was called Tri-City.
Okay.
So it was a lot of really dope Philadelphia talent has come out of that school. It has recently closed down a few years back.
Okay.
But I got out in 2006. So But a lot of the Philly culture was born out of that barber school for sure.
Okay. Cool.
Did you adopt a lot of that culture while you went to school and just being in Philly, as often as you were going to school?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I was of the mindset that Philly had the best barbers in the world.
Right.
And like it's just a culture thing. Like when I would cut up there for like 2 years before I actually moved to Atlanta, people used to get their hair cut twice a week.
Mm.
Like the average person gets their hair cut every 2 weeks. But in Philly, people are Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. Like hair cutting is a culture in Philly, sure. If people take their haircuts so serious, so if you're not any good, you're not going to make any money.
Right.
Because people wait hours and they work all day, all night just because they want the sharpest stuff.
Right.
So it forces you when you're in that culture to get really, really good because you're surrounded by a lot of really, really good barbers. Because if not, they don't eat.
Right.
So it's either you gonna get good or you can find something else to do.
Right.
So I enjoyed that type of culture for a while. I'm just not a cold weather person.
Right. I hear you. So I feel I'm struggling with that now. So and this has always been my outlook. So would you agree? Would it be so safe to say I'm a beard guy? The first guys that I seen, black guys really rocking beards were out of Philly years ago. Would you agree with that? It's kind of the mecca of the beards.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think partly due to the Muslim culture in Philly. The Muslim culture is very strong in the Philadelphia area. And it's just a thing, man. The ladies love it up there. Like if you don't have a beard in the Philadelphia area, it's just not gonna go well. They kind of look at you almost like you soft.
Right.
They look at you. So yeah, man, I was a big believer in that for sure and still am.
Okay, cool. So once they finally got you out of there, you passed the state board. What was your next step? What was the first shop that you worked in? Was it in Philly? Was it in Delaware?
It was in Delaware. It was at the Tri-State Mall. It's a place called Tri-State Clippers where I got my first opportunity to cut. And they actually recruited me.
Okay.
They, everybody wants the white boy to be in the front in the first chair, to show the diversity. You cut all hair and all that. So yeah, I was a victim of that. So, but when I first got in the shop, man, I was terrible. I was messing up fades, messing up haircuts. People was laughing at me. So I have this like numbness now to like failure because I've done it so much that I'm just numb to it now. I'm into the work. So I know, here's what I've learned. The first time everyone does anything for the first time, they suck. They just do. The first time you do anything, you suck. So you have to be able to be comfortable with that so you can grow from that. And that's what I was able to do. That's what I was able to do. So I worked at Tri-State Clippers for about 18 months to 2 years. And I had a friend of mine who bought a house in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was like, hey, man, why don't you come down on vacation? And I was like, okay. I never even really been on a flight, except for like the previous summer in 2006. I went to Miami for Memorial Day. It was like a shop trip. And everybody was like, yo, let's go to Memorial Day, Miami. And that like blew my mind. Like I'd never seen so much splurging and money and just like people really living. It kind of inspired me. I was like, being from a small town, you don't see that stuff. Some people never get out of their own zip code. And I just saw that and I was like, man, this is what's out here. So when I got back, one of my homeboys lived in Atlanta, Georgia. He just recently moved there. And he was like, hey, why don't you come down on vacation? Like, just come down and visit. And I was like, why not? All right, cool. So I went down to Atlanta, Georgia. And I think it was in like December and it was like 70 degrees. No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't quite December yet. It was like September. And it was warm. It was hot out. So I'm walking around on Peachtree. I'm going everywhere.
Right.
and I see some of the most finest women I've ever seen in my entire life. Like a
Right.
Georgia peach is a
Right.
real thing.
Right.
And
Right.
I was like, then you hear about Magic City and this and that. I'm like, this is an amazing place. And I had no idea. Right. So my homeboy showed me around. We went pretty much everywhere, all sides of town,
Right.
and I said, man, this is incredible.
Right.
So I went back and he was like, yo, man, he was like, what did you think of it? And my homeboy, and I was just
Right.
like, I ain't never been nowhere like that. He was like, why don't you move?
Mhm.
I was like, what? What you mean move? He said, look, man, you ain't got no girl, you ain't got no kids. Why don't you come for like new opportunity?
Right.
And he's like, you can stay with me.
Mm.
And I'm thinking in my head now, 2 years later, after being in the barbershop, I'm thinking, I can go anywhere and cut hair.
Right.
So I was like, why not?
Mhm.
So I didn't want nobody to talk me out of it.
Right.
Because you know, when you tell people stuff,
Woo.
your family like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Homeboys be like, man, you get homesick. It's not the right move for you, not right now, this and this and that. I didn't want to tell
Everybody, and not to cut you off, everybody is going to find a reason why something can't be done. I learned that. Man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just packed up my car and I left.
I heard that.
And I just went and stayed with my homeboy for a couple months. And then, you know, I just was down there and I said, all right, well, I enjoyed it for like a month. And I was like, all right, well, I need to find a good shop to go to. So I went downtown and there was this new barbershop that had just opened. It was like second week open. It was right on Peachtree Street. Okay. It was decked out. Okay. And I was like, man, what are the requirements to work here?
Right.
And it was like, you need a license. And I was like, I got one, but it's PA. So I learned, you know, I got to get the reciprocity and switch. Right. And then I started working there. First haircut I did there, I messed it up. Because the lingo was different. Okay. Somebody came and told me they wanted a tape. Okay. So I'm thinking that means taper. Right. You know, and it's like dark taper, you know, light taper. So when he said tape, he really meant a lineup. In the South, they say tape up is like a tape is a lineup. I started tapering the sides and he was hot.
I would have got him like, too.
Yeah, he was like, man, I asked for a tape, man. What are you, retarded? So I'm talking about he cussed me out. I'm just like, tape to me mean taper. Like, right. I mean blend, I mean fade. So that didn't well. So then the owner, you know, they put me in the front in the beginning, but then the owner moved me to the back or like the 5th or 6th seat down. Okay. It was a 20-chair shop because then they felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't cut now and this and this and that. So that kind of pissed me off because that was a misunderstanding and I already knew what I could do. Right. So that kind of pissed me off.
Right. So did that drive and motivate you?
Yeah, it did, because a lot of the other barbers in there were laughing. You know, people be on the side. You know how it is when you're in a bad barbershop where all the barbers talk about the barber who can't cut or they're nicer and all that. Right. So I absolutely hated that culture. Right. So I let them have it. Like I let them know about it. I was just like, yo, man, can't none of y'all see me. Right. So then that made it worse because they already weren't trying to help me. They were laughing. They weren't trying to pass me no clients. I'm new to this city. Right. You know, so I took it upon myself and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna show you. Right. You know, so
relocating, and I'm gonna share with you. I love Atlanta. I absolutely love Atlanta. Me and my wife, we come probably about twice a year. Just hang out. I draw. Literally, I draw all my motivation from whenever I'm in Atlanta. It feeds me. We've actually thought about moving there at times. I ended up opening this, but nothing's off the table. I remember I even reached out to you one time and just asked about the shops, and you responded, told me booth rent, and so I've been checking you out for a while, but I absolutely love Atlanta. I haven't been as much of a risk taker, and on the back end, I've started to become one. Mm-hmm. How was it you making that transition? How were you able to just hang in there, build up your clientele relocating, to a new area. And just to be honest, I watch you, I see the swag, so I can tell you've been around brothers, but just being a white guy coming into a city like Atlanta, because it's so black, just to be honest. How was that transition?
It's seriously black culture for sure in Atlanta.
Right.
But I enjoy it. What I did to get myself out there was, in order, sometimes, right, you have to set yourself on fire so other people will come watch it, watch you burn. Right. So when I first got to Atlanta, nobody wanted to give me a shot. There were people coming in the barbershop, in that same barbershop I messed up the first haircut. And they were literally like, nah, I'm not going to the white boy. Y'all not sending me to the white boy. Hell nah. I'll wait on one of these brothers. So from a self-esteem standpoint, that hurt.
Right.
But I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm here. I'm not going back home, because then everybody's gonna be like, yo, I told you so, this, that. I knew you wasn't gonna get homesick and all that. So I wasn't about to face that music either.
Right.
So it was like, okay, either I'm gonna overcome this and show these people I'm the best that ever did it,
right,
or I'm gonna go back home. I wasn't going back home. So what I did, I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna take these business cards. And I literally went around and walked around Georgia State campus and told people I was the best barber they ever seen. I told you, you had to set yourself on fire.
Right.
I didn't care what nobody thought.
Right.
People originally, like at the shop I worked at, they thought I was arrogant, this and this and that, but they weren't trying to help me. So I had to take it upon myself to create attention to myself,
right,
for better or worse, right? So I used to walk around and tell people I was the best barber they ever seen, and that was just it. And they were like, and then coming from a white guy, most brothers were like, yo, you gotta be dope to say some shit like that.
Right.
Like most white people don't have that type of confidence when it comes to speaking to a brother. It's just, it just is what it is.
Right.
So I was like, I'm the best. I'm like, ain't nobody out here better than me.
Right.
And this is where I'm located. Come see me. I was like, a matter of fact, if you don't like the haircut, you don't have to pay for it. So I was doubling down on that mindset.
Right.
And people were just like, you know what? I'm gonna come see you.
Right.
So when they did, I was doing a good job. So then they were returning. So then it's kind of like this, right? The white dude in the barbershop is like the foreign chick, right?
Right.
Once you meet her and you think, and you realize her personality and stuff like that, and she's dope, it's like everybody wants that now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like people want to go show you what they got. Like they uncovered the jewel.
Right.
Right. So it's like everybody that I was cutting was going around like, yo, it's this white boy over there on Peachtree. You got to go.
Right.
Like he's sick.
Right.
Right. So then they used to come in, and I would just consistently work. And I was the first one there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So people would literally drive by the window with the lights on. I'd be the only one in there. And because I was the oddball, I was the only one there, people were like, yo, why the hell is this dude there every single day?
Right.
Like, gotta be something with this dude. Like, he's in there every single morning.
Right.
And then I would be cutting people early in the morning. So they're like, so I just made myself stand out by what I said, my guarantee. And then I was there when nobody else was there. I was the first one there, last one to leave.
That's what's up.
So it took a tremendous amount of belief and work ethic.
Right.
And you can tell when a person talks to you, 85% communication is nonverbal.
Right.
Right. So people feel the belief.
Right.
When I used to tell them, like, I'm the best person you ever seen.
Right.
I'm the best barber you ever seen. I'm the best. And I mean, I'm 19, 20, I'm 21 years old.
Right.
So that may come off arrogant. I wouldn't talk like that now.
Right.
But at that time, that's how I felt.
Right.
And nobody was trying to give me a shot. And then in my mindset, that's how I felt.
No doubt. So how long, man, did you stay in that barbershop with that toxic culture?
2 years.
Wow.
And I went through the ringer. I actually got fired on my anniversary day. I was in a fight. I had to spend the weekend or spend the overnight in jail because, the guys, I was the only white guy. So, some of the brothers were like, we ain't having it. So, but I wasn't having it either.
I was going to say, you ain't having it either.
I wasn't having it either.
Right.
So I didn't care at that moment. I was like, look, man, like, Y'all not looking out for me. Y'all ain't trying to put me on. I'm the butt of all the jokes. Y'all want to, you know what I mean, talk amongst each other and code and all that, be all corny and lame as hell. Don't nobody want to be transparent. Nobody want to say, no, they ain't got no issues. You want to tell the boss man on me this and this and that. And all I'm doing is just grinding. So they used to do stuff like Will's hogging all the clients. So then the owner would come here.
So hold on. So it went from you couldn't get any clients to now you hogging all the clients.
Exactly. So then they put in a walk-in list where you had to sign in. And every time I cut one of my own appointments, my name went to the bottom of the list, so I could never get a walk-in. Then I was there early, 6 o'clock in the morning, but part of my marketing strategy was there's hotels close by downtown. So I used to walk to the Marriott and the Hyatt and the Hilton and go meet the concierge and say, hey, I realize you guys have a lot of business travelers. I'm right down the street, open at 6 o'clock in the morning. If anybody needs a cut while they're in town, just have them call. Right? So then then the hotels would be calling the phone. Hey, is Will there? Is Will there? Is Will there? Is Will there? So then the owner got wind of that and cut the phones off. Then they moved my station all the way in the back. So then what they didn't realize is because I was getting mistreated, my clients were supporting me even more because they were witnessing it. So they were like, yo, we tell everybody come to you. So my clients, and I had a couple of basketball players on the Georgia State team, they would go tell everybody because they had all the influence. Nah, don't go to nobody but Will.
Right.
So then the clientele just exploded. Till one day, 2 years later, they had enough of me because they were changing all this stuff. They took my keys, so I couldn't come in until 8:30. All the drama, man. But I was just like, look, I just like, look, you can have this, you can have that, you can do that, you can do this. I'm not going nowhere. Y'all got to deal with me. That's it.
Wow.
Like I wasn't gonna let nobody move me off my post on where I got my money. That's how I took care of myself. So you got with a young lady from Georgia State. We ended up having a baby. That young lady's now my wife, obviously, but my daughter was 6 months and I got fired. They threw my stuff in the trash bag, sat it out front, and had the police there. So when I showed up to work, the police was just like, you're no longer allowed inside, and they want you to move. Like you have to move on. Wow. And I was like, yo, like you can do that. But that's when I found out Georgia was an at-will state. They don't have to evict me. They could just tell me I got to go and I had to leave. So in that moment, me and my wife shared a car. So it was raining that day. So my stuff was outside in the trash bag. So I ended up calling one of my clients and he came and picked me up and was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, why would they? You know, I was like, look, man, I'm over that. So I took the rest of the day off and I went and worked at a shop for like 30 days because in that moment I was determined to get my own shop. So I wouldn't be treated unfairly like that. Right. So I worked 30 days at a shop, like right around the corner from there. And then while my shop was getting built out. So I found a little hole in the wall spot. I put one chair in there, one station, one mirror, listened to the music on my laptop, and had a fan blowing on my clients because we ain't had no AC yet. And it was hot Atlanta. Right. And I opened it in April. I got fired in February 6th of 2010, opened my first shop April 6th of 2010.
Wow.
So, but I got into ownership because I wanted to create an environment where barbers were developed and not just hated on and mistreated and treated like they were just some damn money. Pay your rent and get on. I didn't want people to be treated like that. So, because I didn't like how I was treated. So I said, you know what? I'm going to open up a shop so all these people don't have to get treated like this. And they can come work in a culture that is designed to help them develop and not just, you know, be a slave to pay rent.
Right. Now, I was listening to your live conversation with it's Marvy Mar, and I heard you say that you when you were cutting in a shop, you were paying $250 a week booth rent.
Yes.
Now is that where the
2000 back in 2008?
Now is that the shop you were talking about? You were at?
Yep.
God damn.
2008. It was $250 a week, and haircuts was $20. But I told them I'm charging $25.
Right.
Because that's just what I was charging in 2008 back home. So I was like, I'm not charging $20. I'm charging more than that. I won't go under the price. I ain't the undercutting, but I'm going to charge more and people going to pay it.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn.
They didn't like that because, you know, for whatever, I don't know. It was a lot of cornball stuff, but it is what it is.
Right. No doubt, no doubt.
Do you?
And rent was $150 week one. There wasn't no intro rate.
Wow.
You start on Friday, the next Friday, $250 was due, or by 4 p.m. And if it wasn't paid by 4, you had a $100 fine and it had to be paid before you could return to work.
I mean, even with the success that we're about to get into, how do you, I mean, if you see some of those barbers, I mean, is it, I mean, I'd have more than just revenge, success being revenge. Like I would have some middle fingers and some fuck yous. You know what I'm saying? Like if I see that, like, and I know that, like you said, you came from the bottom and you dealt, but like just listening to that, and that's just kind of crazy, bro. Like what you had to endure.
It's safe to say I don't have a great relationship with anybody that I used to work with.
Absolutely.
Because it was just like, it was, you know, I was the northern guy, you know, it's Southern culture. And it didn't work out well, man. And part of it is probably my fault. You know,
Why?
I didn't know of it. Part of it was probably my fault because of the things I said. It was probably more arrogant because it was a retaliation for them people laughing and dissing me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It kind of made me feel like you just said, like, Joker, fuck you.
Right.
Like, I'm going to get it done anyway.
Right.
I don't care what you say. So it was like that, you know? And that kind of drove me to kind of rub it in their face a little bit once I started succeeding at what I was trying to do.
Right.
It was like a determination. And then it was like, yeah, Joker, you suck now. Now the shoe on the other foot. So it was retaliation. So part of it was my fault, you know? But I don't regret any of it because it gave me perspective, you know, and it helped me understand like how I don't want to be treated and how I won't treat people going forward.
That's what's up.
But you gotta go through it and be able to learn from it, man. You know, some people retaliate, get mad, this and this and that, but never learn from it and keep that same mentality.
Right.
I was able to learn, and I look back now knowing that those things were foolish, but I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Right. No doubt. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's fast forward. So now you went through all that. You went through, you know, the coming from the mud, so to say, you know, coming up with nothing. You're going full throttle, trying to be your best self.
My fault, man. I just got one more follow-up question, and I want to address the elephant in the room. Okay, so a lot of perception, you know, of white people are that, you know, they don't get it from the mud, but you, on the other hand, got it out the mud. You didn't grow up privileged like, you know, a lot of, I'm not gonna say a lot of white people because it's just, but when going into Atlanta and, you know, a black barber culture, when you said maybe it was arrogant, I think it's coming off as you really being humble, but in that, you know, and it's just, you're giving us your side and I believe you wholeheartedly, but do you think that they took it as arrogance because you're white? And because I'm like, man, you just fighting, you know what I'm saying? Like you trying to scrap and claw for everything that you get. You new to the city, you know, they know that they mistreating you if they in cahoots to, you know, take you down. Cause as you was telling the story, I was like, well, if you get in there at 6, I knew it was coming that they was going to take you. I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so if you want to address the elephant in the room with you being white in black culture and how we as black people will perceive the white guy, did you feel that way in that moment? Like, man, you know, if I was scratching and clawing and they would call that confidence, but because I'm white, they calling it arrogance. Is that fair? I don't want to like ruffle your
That's-
feather because I just
you can kind of label it as that, but I would probably put it in a different perspective, right? When a leader walks in the room, other leaders are inspired, but sometimes you'll have cowards. They'll call it arrogance, or who does he think he is, or this and this and that. So I've always been a confident individual, right? But sometimes, like I said, I didn't know what I didn't know. And sometimes when you don't know certain things, your confidence turns into arrogance because it's arrogance from ignorance.
okay.
So I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. I didn't know how to handle it.
For
I was
sure.
very direct, but I wasn't a great communicator.
Mm.
So I'm very, direct just naturally. Some people don't take directness very well.
Right.
It comes off as cocky
Yeah.
or arrogant. And I've realized that now as I've gotten older, I'm able to communicate better.
Mm.
And in that moment, as a young man, all I cared about was myself. So I think the arrogance is accurate when I say I was a little arrogant as a young person. I
For
do
sure.
think it's arrogant. I do think it's accurate, but I also think part of what you're saying could be true too. I think it's a mix of all of it.
Right.
But I only want to talk about the accountability on my end
For
No
sure.
because
doubt.
I can't control how they feel,
No doubt. No doubt.
and the only thing I can change is me. So if I look at it from what I did wrong and own that, I can move forward. So that's
For
why I say the arrogance. I never like to put the blame on nobody else
Right.
and
And-
what they feel, what perspective it was. I know there was some things that I did kind of to rub it into their face
Right.
because of disrespect I felt from the beginning,
Right.
which that two wrongs don't make it right, but
Right.
it's what I did,
Right.
and I let them know it because I was like, yo, like I knew they did not care about me.
Right.
So when you don't care about me, I don't care about you.
Right. Bottom line.
And the ball was in the other court
Right.
after 6 months.
Right.
So now it's like, yeah, now what's up?
Right.
No
doubt.
They say
And
real
you-
people got the ball now.
Yeah,
Right.
and you could probably tell by some of the questions that
Yeah.
I'm following that's leading me after you telling your story that I'm a petty person at times and can just be like, all right, take that, motherfucker,
Yeah.
I mean, that's it is what it is. I've
Right.
learned from
Right.
I've learned
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, no, you good. You good. So just going, like I said, now it's coming full circle. You're going from just the mud, man, going through it, trying to find yourself, trying to create some success, go full circle, you build yourself up, you grind. Now here it is, 2021, man, and you have 3 shops in Atlanta, Georgia, a place that you're not even from originally. That's doubling down and betting on yourself big time, man. Tell us about that journey, man. I opened, I'm 44. I opened my first shop June 1st, man. And it took me a long time to move out of my way. My better half was always in my ear. I've been a licensed barber since 2004, went to barber school in 1999, got my license in 2004, worked in school district. I coached basketball. And just came to my wits end. So, man, let's talk about your successes, man, and what you're doing and just your journey, man, and how you got to the point going from that one barbershop where you were waiting on it to be built out, a fan, no air conditioner, 1 chair, 1 mirror. Now Will Stamm has 3 barbershops. And for those who don't know, when we say professional, it's dope how you put the PRO and then capital FRESH, fresh. You know what I mean? And so talk to, because I'm inspired by that, man. And not only that, I'm watching and all the barbers that I follow, including yourself, follow Will Stamm. So you went from this guy who was just trying to make it happen now to that guy that's a household name in this industry, man. Let's talk about how the process and how that worked, man.
All right. So when I got fired, I knew in that moment, I said, I'll never work for nobody ever again in my life. In that moment, I just didn't like how I was treated. I didn't like how a person had the ability to just throw my stuff in the trash bag and kick me out.
Right.
So I found a little hole in the wall spot, and I started with just one chair. I said, all I thought about was, if I could just start, I'll be able to build. If I would just start. I was scared, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared. I went back and forth. One night I tell my wife, I don't care, I'm gonna do it. The next day I'll be like, man, no, I probably ain't. Like, I felt those real emotions,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And then my wife was like, oh my God, like, you're stressing me out. Like, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to move back home with my dad, and you know, we got a baby and this and that. You're gonna risk everything, and this ain't the vision I have for you opening up your first shop. Like, I want you to get a shop, but this ain't it. And I was like, I told my wife, she was my girl at the time. I was just like, hey, listen, I'm gonna do this. I think I can do it. And if you don't think so, you can move back with your dad, or you can come along for the ride. And she didn't go nowhere.
That's what's up.
So I went and I did it. First year was horrendous. My first 90 days, I was in the barbershop by myself. What I did was I picked a smaller space that, you know, I was already paying $250 a week. So it was $1,000.
Right.
My rent when I first opened up my first shop was like $1,200.
Okay.
The utilities and stuff, you know, extra $500, $600, whatever. Right. So I was like, okay, can I afford an extra $200 a week, which would have been an extra $800? Right. 12 plus 6 is $1,800, my overhead, right? I was already paying $1,000. So I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll go from $25 a cut to $30.
Okay.
I'll make $5 extra per head, at least 40 heads a week. I was doing like 60 at that time.
Okay.
At least 40 heads a week would be an extra $200 a week, which would be the extra $200 each week, which would be 18. So I did the math and I calculated, and I said, you know what? That's doable for me. I'm gonna charge $30 a head, and I'm gonna go. Yeah. So that's what I did. Yeah. I was in there by myself, you know, probably paying some cell phone bills on credit cards and things of that nature, just to make ends meet, just to get to the next month. Right. Year later, now originally I had a business partner who was able to do construction work, or at least I thought so. Okay. After that first year, I bought him out because he wanted out. Business wasn't really making money. I was making money because I cut out the barbershop, right? He wanted out, wasn't profitable enough. Whole time, I basically bought the business twice, because the whole time I put up a lot of the money and he didn't really put up his end. But I was young and naive and I just wanted to open. So I kind of went with, so I bought my first business twice. Okay. After I bought him out, we signed a contract. I bought him out after year 1. 2 weeks after that, I got 2 new barbers to join my shop and took off. Okay. Then 2 years later, my shop was full. I had just went to barber school to get my instructor license, because in my first 2 years of business, I realized I was hiring people fresh out of school. They didn't know how to cut. Right? Most times when you get a shop, all the barbers that got clientele, they don't want to move, because when they move, they lose a piece of their clientele based on convenience. Right. And it's like they're restarting. Right. I'm a new startup. I ain't got no reputation yet. Why would they leave where they are to come with me? Right. So you're going to get a majority of your people from either out of state, or you're going to get them from barber school. Right. So when they were joining me fresh with their license, they couldn't cut hair well. I was concerned about my reputation. I was like, man, I don't want these people leaving bad reviews. I don't want them doing this, that. So I said, why don't I just start teaching my barbers how to cut? And I put things together and stuff like that. I started, and they were giving me feedback like, yo, you're really good at this. You make it so simple. Right. That's how I realized, I was like, wow, maybe I can become a teacher. Then I went to barber school to get my instructor license. So year 1 was the struggle with barbers. Year 2, I was like, okay, I'm still hiring barbers. I'm teaching them how to cut. Year 3, I went to get my instructor license. I was like, once I get my instructor license, my shop is full. I'll launch another location, because I always looked at it like, if I want to grow, I don't want to charge my barbers more money. I want to just go open up another location. I was always a fan of the real estate model, because I heard that McDonald's doesn't sell the best burgers. They just have the most locations. And if you leverage and you have more locations, you make more money, right? It's the distribution model, not necessarily the sales model. You know what I mean? Where you just up the price on like that.
Right.
It's more about real business is about duplication.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So I realized that. So I said, well, I'll just go open up another location. So me and my wife were engaged at the time. It was 2013. And my first shop was full. And I had barbers calling me like, yo, I want to get on at your shop. The only thing I could do was give them my seat. If I give them my seat, I got to go open up another location. So I went and I was driving around and my wife wanted to go to like a Dollar Tree to get a vase for centerpieces for the wedding. You know, they're going to get vases, they're going to put stuff in it and all that. And I made the wrong turn. And I turned right into a dead end shop it was an old Boost Mobile and it had a for lease sign in the window, little small independently owned shopping center. And I said, man, this would be a great location. And my wife was like, oh my God, no, let us just get past the wedding. You know, we got all these expenses, like, here you go. And I was like, bah, if they tell me this thing is 1,000 square feet and it's this much money, I gotta do it. Like I gotta do it. And she's like, oh my God, you stressing me out. Like we were supposed to just go to the Dollar Tree. Like, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, so I call them and they said it's 1,000 square feet and it was $100 more than the number I had in my head. And I was like, I gotta do it. She was like, no, just wait, it'll be there. I was like, no, it won't. So I kind of forced it and did it. And then we opened it up and it only had like half of the chairs in it because I didn't have all the money. I just forced it anyway.
Okay.
And 60 days after that, right? Like 75% of my first location, 7 chairs, 4 of them quit. 5, and then a 5th one gave me his like 2-month notice. So I was like, what in the world? And I only had one barber that, you know, when I got my instructor license, when I got finished instructor school, I didn't have my license yet. He was one of my students. So he came and worked with me. So I literally had a new shop and I used to go to work in the morning at the new shop, take an hour lunch break from 2 p.m. I started at 6. I would take an hour lunch at 2 o'clock to grab me some Chick-fil-A and then go down to my other shop, which was 15 minutes away at 3, do 3 to 7 there. So I would close up shop at the first one because I only had 2 barbers at the first location and 1 at the second. So can you imagine I'm losing money on both fronts and my wedding is 60 days away. So in that moment, I am stressed out. Like, man, what did I just do? And at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I said, man, I was full. It was time to expand. I just wanted to give more people an opportunity so they don't have to work for these terrible owners who just be extorting barbers. And I was like, that was my premise on it. And I was like, it felt right at the time. And I was just around, I was just like, I don't understand. So I was like, well, my bills are low enough, you know, that, and I've saved up all my money. I never spent any money off of my booth rents, off my first 2 shops for the first 6 years. I've always lived off of what I make cutting hair as a barber. So I was like, if I could just get a couple barbers to join the team on intro rates, and then my wife can work and stuff like that, we kept our bills low. We'll be able to manage. You know, I increase my credit cards or whatever. If I needed to be able to use that to be able to, you know, forward some bills to the next month, then I'll do so. So 2 months passed by, and it's September. We were supposed to get married September 20th, 2013. The first week of September, I got 2 new barbers at my new shop. The second week of September, I got a new barber at my first shop. The day before, or the weekend before my wedding, I got a 3rd barber that was going to start at the new location on the 27th of September. So I was like, man, right when you need that lifeline, like, and these were just random calls. Like people were just like stopping by, like, hey, see, this is a new shop over here, this and this and that. So I ended up having like 4 barbers out of 9 in the second location. And then I got back up to 4 at the first location. Okay. My guy that gave me his 2-month notice, he wasn't leaving till October 1st. So I actually had 5 at the first location. So I'm like, okay, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, I can at least manage these bills, you know? Now, I only had half of the shop stations in the second location.
Right.
So I go through that, and then we have the wedding, get married, things of that nature, and have the festivities or whatever. And I'm like, okay, have paid all that, paid it out. And I was like, all right, now for the rest of the year, my wife had to go to work you know, her normal schedule, and give me her whole check just so I could pay the rents at both locations while I had barbers on intro rates. January got here, we're like, okay, Christmas was average. My wife is kind of frustrated. Like, I told you not to do this. And I was just like, look, man, it's gonna work out. We'll be fine. So then March come, we start filling the stations back up and moving forward. And I'm like, okay, by the summer, it was like, all right, cool. Both shops are back profitable again. The chairs at the new location have been installed. Everything's good. We had the 1 year anniversary for the second location. And it's like, all right, good deal. Now we can build, right? So I'm like, okay. I still didn't have my instructor license because, you know, I've had amazing journeys at barber schools. It's incredible. So I finished barber school to get my instructor license in summer of 2013, spring, April of 2013. The barber school closed down before I could get my state board prep.
Damn.
So I was like, the teacher, I couldn't find her, this and this and that. And I was just, yo. So I did my 750 hours.
Right.
So I completed this one. But now this one is like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now this one is like, so 2 years and some change later, I run into, I go to a barber battle. They asked me to be the judge. And one of the students there was getting his instructor license, or had just got it. And he was hosting on the thing with me. Like, he was the host and I was the judge.
Okay.
But he was inspired by me. He was like, yo, man, I follow you, man. I love your videos on YouTube, yada, yada, yada. He's like, man, you're an inspiration to me. I was like, dope. I'm like, you got your instructor license? He's like, yeah, man, I love the game just like you do, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, bet. So we got to talking about that. I said, man, school closed down on me, this and that. He was like, yo, I just took my state boards last week. He was like, I'll give you the lesson plans I use and you can go take your test. So that's exactly what we did. Wow. I used his lesson plans to go take my state board examination and passed it.
Wow.
So that's actually how I got my instructor license.
Wow.
Just by being in the right place at the right time. Wow. Just going and serving and judging school battle.
Right.
All right. So got the shots back rolling. Second one. So now everything is good, it's profitable. I don't think both of them were completely full, but they were profitable. So we moved on, kept doing that. And then I did that for a few years. Just normal, growing the business, growing, the barbers, teaching them skill sets, things that help them grow. And I think we were in like year 6 of the second location. Okay. And the first 3 years, like, all right, cool, I got another location. So I was like, man, 3, I'm thinking I need to open up a new one every 3 years. So 3 years into the second location, we're at 6 years. And I'm like, okay, it's time to open up another location. Both locations were full. That's my determining factor on how I decide if it's time to expand. Okay. If you can't fill up the first one you got, you don't need a second one.
Okay.
If you can't fill up the first 2, you don't need a third one.
Right.
It's like a measuring stick for me,
right.
Is what I use. If I can fill them and all the locations is full, now it's time to expand.
Right.
It's like testing yourself if you can handle it or not. Right. So the second location was full and I was looking. So then I went into looking at locations, I drive around, look for lease on the building, call the number, ask for the square footage and the specs, how much they charge price per square foot, do the math. Can I afford to put this here? I know, what the numbers are and all that. So I'm like, okay, I went in and I had an agreement for a shop in Atlanta, basically a verbal agreement. Then they came back to me over the weekend and said, we just got the property reevaluated. Instead of charging you $25 a square foot, it's now $35 a square foot. So they get your emotions all tied in it, thinking you got an agreement, thinking you about to open up a new shop. And then came back with that. And I said, you know what? Nope. And I walked away. I was like, I'm not gonna let you extort me like that. 1,000 square feet. extra $10. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. So I walked away from that, and I was like, man, I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to open up a shop. Maybe I'm, supposed to open up a school. And I was like, well, if I want to open up a school, I need to go work at a school so I can learn everything about a school. So then I started working at night. So I would cut in the shop in the day and I work at night to go teach other barbers how to do basically what I do.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that is because I believe if you want to own any business, you need to go work in one first. I'm a big fan of the earn while you learn process. So I got paid. I got paid to go teach, even though I was practicing teaching. So and then I was just freshening up my knowledge. Like I know if you're in barber school and you get out, get your license a couple years later, you don't know the chemistry chapter off the top of your head.
Right.
You don't know and all the anatomy,
Right.
dealing with the body from the neck up off the top of your head.
Right.
You just don't know.
Right.
Because you ain't using it, you losing it. So I went back and started doing that. I did that for 9 months. And then I asked them, because it was 4 nights a week. And I was like, look, this is really tough on my family with me running my own business 4 nights a week. I was like, I just can't commit that much time. I was like, I just trained an instructor. Would you be willing to let him do 2 days and me do 2 days? I'll do theory and the other one. And they were like, no, you got to work 4 days. I said, okay, well, I'm not working no more. Today's my last day. And I quit because when I trained somebody to kind of help take the burden off me, and it didn't change. I came to them and told them I had a problem, that my family was, they wanted me home, or it was beginning to be too much.
Absolutely.
Right? So I brought you a solution. I brought you somebody who can work in my spot, who has their license.
Right.
And I can do 2 days. They can do 2 days. We got a great rapport. I just trained them. And when you told me no, I was like, okay, see, I didn't just bring you a problem and you said no. I brought you the solution to the problem.
Right.
And you still said no. That means you think you own me.
Right.
Bye. I'm done.
Right.
So I quit. And then I was like, all right, it's time for me to go open up another shop, because it was either a school or a shop next. And my wife was like, I think you need one more shop. So there's this thing that they say, man, the wife is always right. And, I've learned that to be true.
Know that all too well. You're right.
I think God talks to us through our wives.
Right.
They were put here to be the completers for us.
Right.
As men, we're the head, but, we obviously have holes and flaws. And the woman, when she becomes your wife, she naturally fills in those voids.
Absolutely.
So when you need answers, go talk to your wife. She know.
Absolutely.
She's connected to you daily.
Absolutely.
So she knows. So she said third shop. So I was like, bet, let's do it. So she was like, I think this location, I drive past it on the way home. I think this is a good spot. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we go over there. I call the numbers. The numbers, we're fair.
Right.
And I was like, how you feel about it? She's like, I like it. I think it's going to be cool. So I went in and, looked at the space, and I had my attorney look at the lease and stuff like that. And we had like a 30-day negotiation with the lease, because they had this long drawn out 50-page lease. I've never signed a lease more than 10 pages.
Right.
So it was 50 pages, a bunch of just, clauses where they can get around certain stuff. My attorney picked it apart.
Right.
Then we got into that. So we got an agreement. We signed the paperwork. It's like, woohoo, cool. Third location coming soon. Every barber want to put the post out. It's coming soon.
Right.
So then we got into that, and had a problem with getting the blueprints or getting the permits. I got my guy to put together the blueprints, the plans and stuff to build out the shop. I took him in there. We went through it. So we submitted to get the approval to build out the shop.
Okay.
And the lady that was looking at our stuff, man, she was going through a lot of stuff personally. She was like, I think she was going through a divorce, and then her mom passed away. So she was like out of work for like 5 weeks. So when I first did my negotiation, it was a shell. So I was like, yo, 30 days on the build out. That's fine.
Right.
Well, the getting the permits and getting it all built out took like 90 days.
Wow.
Because the lady was out. Once a person starts your file, she has to finish your file. They don't pass it along to nobody, you know? So her being out just held up the prints for so long and the permits for so long.
Yeah.
I didn't even open, I signed a lease like May 1st, and I was scheduled to pay rent June 1st and June, July, and I didn't open up until August 22nd of 2019.
Okay.
So I ended up paying rent on a space that I wasn't even able to operate for a couple months.
Okay.
Then, August 2019, I started out with 5 barbers. I did all my interview process. So I'm like, I learned from the first 2. I'm gonna start with everybody, already set.
Right.
Then we get to February 2020 and the pandemic hits 6 months in. So not only am I money spent out on the build out, paying rent for a space I couldn't operate, just going through the ringer. I'm just like, yeah, this is insane.
Right.
But then the pandemic hits in 2020 and I got 2 shops. I got 28 chairs total and 22 of them filled.
Oh, wow.
And all of the locations. So remember I told you, whenever I open up a new shop, that means the first 2 is full.
Absolutely.
So we get to that, we, had a grand open, do all that, get to the pandemic. And they're like, you got to close in March 23rd. You got to close down your business. You can't open it. So in that moment, I go from a new business, new shop, new overhead to 0. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll just call the owners and say, hey, y'all know what's going on. We're not able to work. Can you work with me on the overhead? Like spread it out over the rest of my lease or whatever.
Right.
Every single owner told me basically in so many words, don't make my problem your problem. That's your problem. Rent still due. So I go and get on a Zoom with my entire team, just to kind of strategize how we get through this because they're not making money either.
Right.
Because we're all cutting hair. It was sudden, it was quick.
Right.
Nobody thought it was real. And then boom, we was closed.
Right.
So I'm talking to them and I'm like, look, y'all, I'm like, shops we can't open. Obviously, nobody can make no money. If I was you guys, I would do as many mobile cuts as your clients feel comfortable doing just to get you some revenue to kind of hold on.
Right.
I was like, don't worry about paying any rent until we can open back up.
Right.
From my perspective, I can't make any money. Y'all can't make any money. I damn sure can't ask you to pay any money when you're not generating money. Morally, that just isn't right.
Right.
And, so I'm at the house like 40 days, just in the house every day. Can't go outside, driving me crazy. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, I had a 10-year anniversary party set for April 2nd to celebrate 10 years in business. March 23rd, we got closed. So I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, yo, this is crazy. I'm like, I've worked all of my 20s pretty much to build a business to be able to take care of my family and also help other people grow and develop. Right. And in blink of an eye, something totally out of my control could just rip it right from me. Right. So you can imagine all the thoughts I had in my head for like 30 to 40 days. I'm losing $1,000 a day. Right. I lost $45,000 in 40 days. Wow. In revenue. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, this is insane. Not knowing when we was gonna be able to open back up. Right. And I got 3 girls and my wife who depend on me. And just because the government says so, it's nothing I can do. Right. So in that moment, there was probably a lot of thoughts crossed my mind, just from frustration. And just at the end of the day, the thing that kept me going and the thing I held on to was I've done the absolute best I possibly can. I know how to build barbershops. I know how to build clientele because I've done it over the past 10 to 15 years. Right. It's not just me that has to be closed. It's everybody. Right. So if we all had to start over based on what I know and what I've already done, I'll be one of the first ones to get it all back.
Right.
The hardest part for me was having to go home and tell my kids, like, Daddy don't have the barbershops anymore. You know what I mean? That would have been the hardest part.
Right.
Because my kids wouldn't understand that. Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Daddy, you lost your business. That probably would have hurt my heart more than anything.
Right.
So 40 days later, there's like, you guys can open back up. Now, I was one of the first ones in Georgia to open back up.
Okay.
Everybody else was like, yo, like, I don't know. I'm gonna hold off till June, July, August.
Right.
Y'all be safe, take care of your family.
Right.
You know, barbering just ain't worth it. All that nonsense. Joker, this is how I feed my family. I ain't buying none of that social media garbage.
Right.
I'm not into that. This is how I take care of my family. This is how I provide for my family. And my number 1 and 2 responsibilities is to provide and protect them.
Right.
This is how I do that.
Right.
So I don't care nothing about none of these theories and all this stuff. Nope. If I'm going to catch the virus or something like that, it's going to be taking care of my family.
Right.
Right. So we get back in. I told all my barbers, I said, hey, you come back when you feel comfortable. I'm not forcing you to come back. And you pick when you want to come back. But those of you that want to start right now, you can start with me. I brought them all back on intro rates. Like they just started.
Right.
Even though some had clientele, half of them quit on me because they started doing the mobile thing and getting a job and all that. So I went from 22 barbers down to 12 across 3 locations.
Okay.
Then some of them started, some came back, some, just basically had to rebuild 3 locations at once. So not only is launching one hard,
Right.
rebuilding 3 at once is even harder. So we just, kept doing what we normally do, go in early, work, make money how you need to make money. Obviously we increased prices a little bit because all of the extra expenses.
Right.
From spacing people out, not being able to have people in, doing appointments, all the extra sanitizer wipes, this and that, because they was price gauging on Amazon and all that stuff. I was paying like $10 for a bottle of sanitizer.
Man, that's crazy.
So it was out of control, right?
Yeah,
So you had to inflate the price as a barber too, because you were just, and then also too, people weren't getting a haircut every week. It was once a month.
Right.
So you kind of had to make it worthwhile.
Right.
So barbers who were just starting out in the beginning, they didn't have clientele. And this wasn't the era where you were just going to go, or this wasn't the, I don't say era. This wasn't the time to be going and marketing yourself, walking up on people, trying to give them cards. People look at you like, yo, get away.
Right.
So it was a struggle for new barbers. It probably wiped out a whole wave of new barbers.
Yeah.
So we just had to build that. And so I came through that, finally got some traction back to where we were getting everything stable. Probably around September. We opened back up May 1st. I think I got back to breaking even in my shops in September. So I'm at my 1-year anniversary after bleeding money for months, finally able to just get some fresh air.
Right.
Like, now, mind you, I spent money to build it out, and I still ain't made my money back on my 3rd location yet, even though it is full and it is profitable to this day.
Okay.
But I lost money, and I still paying back my build out to myself, because I paid cash for it. I didn't have to use no loan or nothing.
Okay.
So move forward, did that, and got through, and now we're just, everything is kind of just taking off now. Like all locations are full.
That's what's
and
up.
That's where I'm at now.
So you currently have how many barbers?
26.
That's
25.
Wow.
25. I got 1 booth open, and then I use 2.
And the locations, your locations, can you tell the listeners where your locations are at?
Yeah, my first one is in Midtown. It's been there over 11 years.
Okay.
In West Midtown.
Okay.
So it's close to downtown.
Okay.
Not far from, the stadiums and stuff like that.
Okay.
The second location is in Smyrna, which is like the Cumberland Mall area. And I forgot to mention this, but 6 months after I opened my second location, with the wedding drama and all that, they announced that the Braves were building a new ballpark right across the street.
Okay.
I'm actually right across the street from the Battery and where the Atlanta Braves play. You can walk there from my shop.
Okay.
And then the third location is on the east side. off of Moreland Ave. So that's East Atlanta.
Okay.
So you got Midtown, and then you got the East Side, and then you pretty much got North Atlanta, which is Smyrna, because it's right on the cusp.
Right.
Across the street in Atlanta. So
Okay.
we on the North Side, Midtown, and the East Side.
Right. Okay. Man, just phenomenal, man. You got a lot of going, a lot of ups and downs, man. Man, it's crazy, but I know it has to feel good that you've done it on your own terms, even the headaches that come with it. You know what I mean? When you're doing it on your terms, it feels so much better. We've been at it a while. We're not gonna keep you too much longer, man. I know you got a lot going. What's next for you, man? It seems like, you know, you just when you feel it, but so you're all full now, right? Everything, you know, numbers are going back up, so things are kind of sketchy. But I know you're doing it, your investments. You know, if you want to talk a tad bit about that, but you know, you're an entrepreneur at its core. What is Will's next move? The way you're talking, I know you're not done.
No, I'm so far from done. The next thing, like I said, August 15th has been a year I've been teaching at a school.
Okay.
First, the time I was talking to you guys, that was my first go around teaching.
Okay.
I usually do it in a year. I usually do it for a year, and then I go, you know, take a break from my family and stuff.
Okay.
The school I work at now is just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I do the evening program. It's closer to my house, and it's not as many hours per day.
Okay.
So I enjoy teaching that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm in negotiations now. So this is fresh off the press. Nobody knows this.
Sure.
That about purchasing my first commercial property, and I'm going to build my barber school out of it.
That's what's up.
So the next thing I'm going to do is build a school. And then from there, once I build a school and, you know, help people develop and go on and get their license, I'm not doing any more barbershops. I got my 3. And then what I'm going to do is help my managers get their own shops.
That's
I never want to be the ceiling for anyone. I'd rather, you know, build a stage for them to walk across. So my manager and stuff, when they, you know, I'm going to take them through leadership stuff. As you know, I'm a John Maxwell certified leadership coach. So I'm going to go and teach them. Basically, obviously, they know how to cut. They can build a 6-figure clientele. We didn't did that. They didn't did that.
Right.
Now it's growing them as leaders, because leaders is ultimately what an owner is.
Right.
A good owner.
No doubt.
I'm going to, you know, coach them on developing their leadership skills. So then when they take their clientele, they take their money that they've saved, that I've showed them how to do the financial training I offer, and then also becoming better leaders. Now we can take the money and the leadership and the clientele and go build a shop, because that's what ultimately is a barbershop. And then I'll be training the workforce at the school. So then we won't have to compete with each other. We'll just be collectively providing opportunities.
Absolutely.
For new barbers. So we won't have to be in comp with each other. And then I'm going to help them build it out. You know, so I'll probably, you know, start out with them, you know, putting up half of the resources.
Right.
And then 3 years into it, they can buy me out. So I want to help them get stable, help them get staffed. And then, you know what I mean? They can just give me a little interest on what I put up and launch them off into their own thing.
That's what's up. I think that's important, man. Got so many barbers that get in their feelings about people going to the next level. I think this is a business that ultimately, you know, it's about entrepreneurship. You know, you can't expect to have a barber, you know, for forever. You know, it's my son works with me. He's a barber, you know. At some point in time, I have an expectation that, you know, he does his own thing, and it's only right. You don't want to handcuff and limit and you know, keep a ceiling on people. And I think that's big, because there are a lot of shop owners, man, that take it personal when people make that next journey.
Yeah. And I think what people have to realize is, man, you got like a 3 to 5 year window.
Right.
And I always hear shop owners like, oh, these barbers ain't loyal, this and this and that. Listen, man, are you loyal to them?
It's a great
like,
question.
what are you giving them? what are you giving them?
That's a great
Like
question.
the problem owners have is they don't have a growth plan
Right.
for people in their company.
Right.
They don't have a growth plan for them.
Right.
You got to give somebody a growth plan. And if they see tangible results from the growth plan and they're growing,
Right.
they're not going anywhere.
Absolutely.
People leave because they're no longer growing.
Absolutely.
People want growth. Everybody wants to grow.
Absolutely.
If you help your people grow, they'll grow your business. People get stuck because they want people to work for them. It's
Right.
like they cry and complain, right, about the American way, how corrupt it is. But when they get the opportunity to be on top of the American way, they want you to just, hey, it's just the American way. It's
Right.
how it is.
Right.
No, man, we got
Right.
it. We change that. We need real transparent leadership
Right.
in the game.
Right.
People love the American way when it benefits them. They hate it when it don't.
No doubt.
But somebody got to step up to the plate, man, be a real leader. And that's what I plan to be. Not only for, myself, my family, but for the people I lead, man.
No doubt.
I'm concerned more about what the people I lead say about me than what people on social media know or don't know me. I don't care about that. Like I'm a person, like social media, I could get on there and create all this stuff and reach the reach and all that. But I spend my time with the people that are in the trenches with me because I feel like that's true leadership.
Absolutely.
I
No
can,
doubt.
I like to be in the trenches with my people. And people always, they hit me up online. Hey man, can you mentor me? Can you do that? I say the best way to get mentorship from me, come work at one of the shops. You see it live.
Right.
It's not just what I say, it's what you see me do.
Right.
So that's the most important thing for me, man, is just being a real leader, because I think leadership is lacking in our industry. And it is my hope that eventually I'll be able to come to some of these hair shows and teach on the subject that is leadership, because I think we have so many barbers who aspire to be owners,
Right.
but they don't have the leadership skills necessary
Right.
to successfully own barbershops long term.
Right.
And I think that's a niche for me, because I've done it successfully, even in the booth rent model, which people think is a terrible model, which I deliver. Like I cannot disagree more with.
No doubt. I totally agree with you.
And I'll show people what I've done and what they want to do to succeed. We have to turn from selfishness to service.
Right.
We got to turn away from selfish, man. People get into ownership and like, I don't want to put a limit on myself and I don't want to do this. I want to do this for myself and I want my own business. Everything is I and my.
Right. Right.
But in order to succeed, it's got to be we. It's got to be, can I help them? It's got to be about the other people. If you're gonna be a leader, you're gonna have to make it about other people and not yourself.
And we're in an industry of service, Yeah.
You see barbers that suffer clientele because they're so worried about them and their late fees and this and this and that.
Right.
But if you just serve the people,
right, no doubt,
it's a flock to you. I mean, I'm booked every single day. I've been booked for years.
Right.
I'm not missing no meals.
That's what's up.
And I just tell people, like, if you can be consistent and you can serve people, you'll win unbelievably. But everybody wants to get from behind a chair and go do this, do that. And I'm just like, man, I make so much money from just standing on my mat. It's incredible.
Right.
By me standing on my mat, I'm able to mentor the people that I'm in the shop with.
Right.
Like you said, I've invested in real estate. I manage my Airbnbs from my mat. The barbershop. I stand on my mat. That's where my money is made, on my mat.
Right.
The barber chair to me is my golf course. This is where I connect with incredibly powerful people that normally they're so busy.
That's deep.
I can't schedule lunch with them on a regular.
Right.
But they know they get a haircut. That's our lunch meeting, is their haircut. So I tell barbers, stop getting from behind the chair, because you're leaving one thing to go chase something else. You're making it harder for you. Like I tell people, like, not to, boast or nothing like that, but I'm like, I charge $65 a haircut, do 12 people a day.
I was going to ask.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Almost make $1,000. I make like $850 a day, 3 days a week. I make $2,500 a week $10,000 a month just cutting hair off of 25 hours worth of work.
That's what's up.
I'm gonna leave that to go do what?
Right. Yeah, real talk. So you work 3
And
days a week?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 6 a.m. to 2.
That's what's up.
40 minutes a cut.
Man, we could go all day.
I got one more question. I just got one more. Yes, no. You ever go back to the tri-state area?
I went last year, but I have no desire.
Yeah.
I have no desire.
Right.
I just don't know.
You at home, huh?
Oh yeah, the A-Town, baby. I ain't going
Yes,
nowhere.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got everything here, man. My family's here, my kids here, my business is here.
That's
I got unbelievable friends and associates.
That's what's up.
I live a great life, man. I couldn't ask to be in a better position.
That's what's
All
up.
I'm trying to do now is put people in better position.
And that's what it's all about. Man,
Yeah.
we could do this all day. Once we'll edit it and we'll put it out. But man,
let's shoot for tomorrow.
We want to bring you back
Thursday
man.
at the later. Yeah. Thursday at the later.
Man, I got tons of stuff, man. People have been asking me to, create courses and this and that. And like I tell people, I would love to, and I'm going to work on it. But I literally, man, I'm in the trenches, man. I love it.
Up.
I'm going to go teach class tonight from 5 to 8.
That's what's up.
So I just do exactly what I say I do.
Right.
I'm not the greatest marketer.
We could talk for so long, and because I got so many more questions, but I don't want to, being a podcast, I don't want it to be so long. But man, if we could get your word, and I will definitely stay in contact to bring you back, man, because I've enjoyed it, and you're dropping jewels, and just the fact that listening, from your origin to where you are now, again, is inspiring. You've been through so much. You got the pandemic, you got 3 shops you're dealing with, but making it, and that's one of the beautiful things that I've heard you say, and just to respect, because I love what I do. And so many people, you're right, and so many other opportunities come from our industry now, want to get from behind the chair. And I think you said a mouthful when you talked about being behind the chair, being the golf course, being someplace where you can connect and create other opportunities. But I think we do something. And again, I consider it the golden era. Like you said, you're charging $65 a head. You're working 25 hours a week doing that. Where can you do that and make that type of money?
That's exactly my point. That's why I tell barbers, like, stop chasing all this stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube ain't giving you $10,000 a month.
Right.
For 25, you know what I'm saying? And if there is, if it is, you're working constantly,
right?
Editing videos, recording videos, and it's constant work. You got to put out something new all the time.
Yeah.
I'm building relationships with people.
Right.
That's not including the 3 locations and the passive income that come from that.
Right.
And then you take the passive income profits and stuff, and you invest in real estate. And now I'm renting out Airbnbs, making money hand over fist.
That's what's up.
All from my mat. So then I go and I teach school. At school, they don't teach you, they don't pay you big money for that, but I ain't worried about that.
Right.
Because I go places I'm at the school practicing becoming a better educator,
right?
A better teacher.
And then on top of that, one of the benefits, bro, as a teacher, is that you have barbershops. So it's always a recruitment tool if you want to use it as well.
Exactly. And I just have a desire to own my own school one day.
That's what's
so
up.
I go and get in the mix and learn how to do it. There's no better formula than earning while you learn.
That's what's up.
It's just no better formula than that.
For real.
So I do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 5 to 8. So that's 9 hours.
Right.
I do 6 to 2, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at my shops.
Wow.
So that's 34 hours a week.
Wow.
And they're over 30,000 a month. You tell me who's smart and who ain't.
That's what's up.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's just, and it's all from just service. Like tell people that to try to impress them. That's not what I'm about. I'm about impact.
Right.
And I just get frustrated with some of the voices on social media who have influence, that all they want to talk about is, oh, increase your price, live your life, and do this and do that. And it's all cap to me.
Right.
It's so much stuff. That's why I don't get into it, because I'm just like, I'm in the trenches for real. You can come spend 2 days with me and see how it is.
Right.
I just had a person hit me up before I got on with you guys, and he was like, hey man, do you do any shadowing, or you letting anybody come like see how you do what you do?
Right.
So I think I'm gonna, and this is fresh. I ain't even thought about this, but this is fresh off the thing. And I'm just like, I'm gonna put together a 2-day thing on a Monday, Tuesday for barbers to come spend 2 days with me. Ask me as many questions as you want. Come visit all 3 locations. I'll let you stay in my Airbnb for 2 days so you can see that. As many real estate questions you want. You can ask me how to shop stuff you want. Ask me whatever you want, and we'll go get a nice dinner, and you can come even, shadow me while I'm teaching.
That's what's up.
And you come spend a day with me. So I'll book some clients. We'll do some, tutorials, haircutting tutorials, lessons Tuesday at the shop. You can come watch me teach on Monday.
Right.
And then you fly back on Wednesday and still get back to the shop by Thursday.
That's what's up.
On your major busy
That's what's
days. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm also going to create the barbershop blueprint
Okay.
ebook. It'll probably roughly be about 20, 25 pages.
Okay.
Just teaching people the framework for a successful shop.
Because that's another question.
A lot of people don't get the numbers right. They don't get the numbers right early on. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know the key ingredient. So I'm going to create that. Me and my partner on one of my properties in Atlanta, me and him are going to put together an Airbnb, basically blueprint on how to evaluate the property, decor it, this, that, how to handle certain things when it comes to, guest communications, things that, that are the most important, and how to make your Airbnb the most profitable. That's going to happen September 14th.
Okay.
And you'll get a tour of the space. So you'll get to come tour the space, and we'll have some food and stuff, get the whiteboards out, show you the numbers, and also show you, the stuff on how you calculate it and what you need to be aware of and how to get into it.
Okay, cool.
And
man, I would definitely.
One more thing. The end of September, I'm starting my first leadership small group training. Where, like I said, I'm a certified John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer. And if you guys don't know who John Maxwell is, he's the authority when it comes to leadership.
Okay.
I've been studying his books and his information for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And I just decided that I found it so vital to my success as an owner and a leader to want to get certified in the information to be able to share that with others to help them grow. Because barbers think like it's some one little ingredient that they don't know that's going to change their business forever. If it is that, it's leadership. But leadership is something that you have to become aware of and learn and practice it better.
No doubt.
And the reason why I can be so transparent is because leadership is not something you can just gain overnight.
Right.
It's the process of growth.
Right.
And you have to go through it if you're going to want to be a successful owner long term.
No doubt.
It's not about the lineups and the fades. It's about the connection you can create with people.
Absolutely. That's a gift in itself.
Yeah. I'm gonna do those. So I got a lot of stuff I got to get done and get working on, man, with everything that I do. But it's all coming. It's just, school, shops, clients, family.
So everything.
I could just give you everything. So I constantly move forward, but that's why I enjoy it, because this life thing, man, it's a journey, man. I'm 35 years old. I don't have to go to work tomorrow if I don't want, but I just love the people, man. And I just want to be a person that can, just show people the way,
that's what's up.
To change their life forever, man. That's just ultimately, that's my goal. It's what I want to do. It's just help other people succeed at a high level. Cause I'm going to be there.
Right.
I just want you to be there too. But you're going to have to do work.
I greatly appreciate it, man. We appreciate your willingness to come on.
Absolutely.
Share these jewels. Like I said, we got to chop it up, man, because we got to get back on here. Because as time comes. I want, once you start the school and everything. But, like I said, me and my wife, we come to Atlanta, a couple times a year, man. So I would definitely like to link up, man, come visit the shop. Just pick your brain, man. I greatly appreciate what you're doing and just what you mean to the industry, man.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. I thank you guys for putting something like this together and having me on. I don't get invited to do a lot of this stuff because I'm usually busy working, or somebody usually hears something I say and then they go act like they said it first.
Know how that goes, right?
You know what I mean? It's just like they hear something from me and then I don't hear from them no more. And then all of a sudden I look at what they talk about. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
Right.
But I mean, I don't worry about that, man. It is what it is, man. Because the results show up for themselves.
Right.
And you can't just make this up. This is hard-earned sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And in the trenches learning day in, day out. Getting to it, man. I'm a fan of the work. And I tell people, like, one of the mantras I have at the school where I teach my students is the work waiting on you.
Right.
It'll always be there. It's waiting for you to do it. Either you do it or you ain't. It's gonna wait for you.
Right.
It ain't going nowhere. Ain't nowhere around that work.
Right.
So
No doubt. Well, man, we greatly appreciate it, man. You have a blessed day. We will send the link to you, my guy. You're gonna chop it up, do his thing.
Probably tomorrow, Wednesday,
like I said,
at the latest.
And I will, man, I would like to stay in tune, man, and just kind of see what it is you're doing, man. And like I said, pick your brain, come and check you out, man, because I got some things I'm doing, some ideas. Like I said, just open my first shop. So, man, I would greatly appreciate, just chopping it up, picking your brain.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, last thing, everybody, y'all can follow me on social media, on Instagram. That's primarily where I'm at Will Stamm, WILLSTAMM. So you can DM me on there or follow me on there. That's the best social media site to find me. Or come to Atlanta, Georgia, and come by the shop. That's where I'll be at.
Absolutely. Now, is there one shop in particular that you spend more time at?
Yeah, I'm at the new one. I spend 2 days at the new one and 1 day at the second one.
Okay.
My first one is full. Them guys is vets. They've been there for a while. So
okay.
They kind of hold it down. And
okay.
I can't be everywhere at once.
Right.
But yeah, I'm on the east side.
Okay. You'll be surprised. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna pull up on you.
All right. Hey, pull up, man. You're gonna see me in my soldier suit doing what I do.
That's what's up.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it, man. Thanks a million again, man.
Appreciate it, my brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Be blessed, man. You and your family, bro. Yes, sir.
My mom had to do it all, working 2 jobs to provide while I pursue the ball. Hoop dreams, no problem doing my own thing. Stepped in the world to get a win for the home team. Laced the sneakers for the crowd in the bleachers. This might get away from the lesson life teaches, but 5'9" don't follow the league guideline. Heart of a champ, but I gotta tuck my pride now. Off to college for the knowledge, try my hand at math. But one call from back home really changed my path. My firstborn, now I got a mouth to feed. Told the Southeast I got a whole new route to lead. Young father, odd jobs, every day is real. Turn to the streets to try to eat or maybe pay a bill. Not proud of it, but I got it cooking good. But prison time on the mind wasn't looking good. I can't afford the price, so I tried the corporate life. Something wasn't sitting right, every night I'm tossing light. They don't appreciate all my hard work, so I went ahead and jumped, let the Lord work. Beer culture 2020, yeah, we taking over. From the Clippers to the hoodies that be draping over. I put the Clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Yeah, I put the Clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Cut my way out. Tryna cut my way out.